Have you ever jacked in? Have you ever wire tripped? No? A virgin brain. Well, we're gonna start you off right.
It's 1995. The OJ trial is clogging every TV channel. Bill Clinton is still eating Big Macs in the White House. And the internet is that weird screeching dial-up thing you use to look up cheat codes for Dune. And into all of this lands Strange Days, Kathryn Bigelow's underappreciated masterpiece. A movie that stares into the future, doesn't like what it sees, and decides to show us anyway. On paper, it was a recipe for success. A James Cameron story, Bigelow behind the camera, Ralph Fiennes oozing sleazy charisma, Angela Bassett in full badass mode, Tom Sizemore wearing the world's ugliest wig, and Juliette Lewis belting out live rock songs. Yet the movie bombed harder than a Michael Bay climax without the fireworks budget. But here's the thing. Strange Days isn't just good. It's one of the smartest, most terrifyingly relevant sci-fi films of the last 30 years.
This isn't like TV, only better. This is life. Yeah, it's a piece of somebody's life. Pure and uncut. Straight from the cerebral cortex.
Set on the final days of 1999, the film imagines Los Angeles as a boiling cauldron of crime, corruption, and paranoia. The world is losing its mind, and technology isn't helping. Enter Lenny Nero, played by Ralph Fiennes, a disgraced ex-cop turned black market dealer of squid clips. These aren't movies or video games, they're direct recordings of people's memories piped straight into your brain. Want to rob a store? Want to sleep with someone else's girlfriend? Want to know what it feels like to die without, actually dying? Lenny's your guy. But when he stumbles on a clip that reveals a racially motivated murder by corrupt LAPD officers, played with pure slime by Vincent D'Onofrio and William Fichtner, Lenny suddenly finds himself in the middle of a conspiracy that could burn down the city before the clock strikes midnight. Luckily, he's got a lifeline. Angela Bassett as Mace, limo driver, single mum, an all-round badass. She's the movie's true moral compass, constantly saving Lenny from his own pathetic spiral. Adding Juliette Lewis as Faith, Lenny's destructive obsession, Michael Wincott as a creepily charismatic record producer, and Tom Sizemore, well, just being Tom Sizemore with a wig that looks like it crawled out of a thrift store dumpster fire. And you've got one wild, violent ride into the new millennium.
You're there. You're doing it, seeing it, hearing it. You're feeling it. It's about the stuff that you can't have, right? Like running into a liquor store with a .357 Magnum in your hand, feeling the adrenaline pumping through your veins. I can make it happen. I can get you anything you want. You just have to talk to me. Talk to me.
The origins of Strange Days starts with James Cameron. Back in the mid-80s, while writing The Terminator, and probably sketching submarines on cocktail napkins, Cameron came up with the concept of squid technology, a way to record and replay people's experiences. He shelved the idea, but it simmered in the background until the early 90s, when he started fleshing it out into a full script. The script itself was massive. Surprise, surprise, Cameron overwrites something. His drafts leaned heavily on world building, tech jargon, and enough plot threads to make Inception look like an after-school special. Cameron then passed it along to Kathryn Bigelow, his ex-wife, because Hollywood thrives on awkward situations, and asked her to direct. Bigelow was the perfect choice. She had already made Near Dark, one of the best vampire films ever, and Point Break, which single-handedly made bank-robbing surfers into cinematic legends. But this time she wanted something darker. Something that wasn't just action spectacle, but a raw look at voyeurism, systematic corruption, and the way technology feeds our worst impulses. Do you think Cameron was onto something with squid tech? And would you try it if it actually existed? Drop a comment below.
I'm your priest, I'm your shrink, I'm your main connection to the switchboard of souls. I'm the magic man.
By 1995, Bigelow had already proven she wasn't here to direct quaint little dramas about tea parties. With Strange Days, Bigelow turned the volume up to 11. The direction is sharp, urgent, and almost uncomfortably immersive. The POV sequences, those squid headset recordings that let you literally become someone else, feel like a VR prototype, decades before Zuckerberg decided we all needed legless avatars. Bigelow's command of tension, chaos, and street-level grit makes this movie hum with nervous electricity. If Cameron's movie screams, "The future is scary but cool," Bigelow's direction whispers back, "Yeah, but people are scary."
Santa Claus of the subconscious. You say it. You even think it. Yeah.
Our lead, Ralph Fiennes, went from playing Nazis in Schindler's List to playing Lenny Nero, a sleazy ex-cop turned dealer of illegal VR experiences. Lenny is charming, pathetic, slick, and constantly on the verge of collapse, which frankly is Fiennes' sweet spot. He plays him like a washed-up Vegas magician trying to sell you a timeshare and a soul at the same time. Somehow you root for him, even when you know he'd sell you out for half a used bottle of cologne. Then we have Angela Bassett as Mace, the limo driver, bodyguard, and moral compass of the story. She is a walking masterclass in how to make cool under pressure look natural. Bassett delivers every line with so much fire, you almost wonder why the film isn't just called Mace the Movie. When she's on screen, the camera belongs to her. She's not just the muscle, she's the conscience of the film. Honestly, Lenny doesn't deserve her. None of us do. Tom Sizemore was basically playing Tom Sizemore. Enough said. Juliette Lewis shows up as Faith, Lenny's ex and the love of his life, or at least his unhealthy obsession. Lewis doesn't just act a part, she sings her own songs in the film, delivering raw, scratchy vocals that perfectly fit the seedy, end-of-the-world nightclub vibe. Watching her perform feels like being at the coolest dive bar you've ever been thrown out of. Michael Wincott, king of gravelly voices, plays record producer Philo Gant. Wincott has made a career out of sounding like he gargles with sandpaper every morning, and in Strange Days, he brings his trademark sinister charm. He's the kind of bad guy who would steal your girlfriend, your wallet, and your dog, and somehow convince you it was your fault. As if the movie didn't already have enough villains, along come Vincent D'Onofrio and William Fichtner as two of the slimiest cops ever put to the screen. D'Onofrio brings that unhinged Full Metal Jacket energy, while Fichtner plays him like the evil accountant of the LAPD. Together they embody the terrifying "what if the guys with badges are worse than the criminals" vibe that makes Strange Days feel disturbingly real.
Are we beginning to see the possibilities here?
Filming took place in Los Angeles, and Bigelow leaned into the city's real-world volatility. This was just a few years after the Rodney King beating and the LA riots, and the tension was palpable. The film doesn't just use LA as a backdrop, it bleeds it. Crowds, protests, music clubs, police crackdowns, it's all baked into the production. The nightclub scenes with Juliette Lewis were filmed live, with extras sweating it out for hours, as if the end of the world really was right around the corner. And that wig on Tom Sizemore? Believe it or not, it was Bigelow's idea. She wanted him to look off, like someone trying desperately to mask their sleeves. Mission accomplished. The film's Los Angeles is sweaty, dirty, and teetering on collapse. It's not Blade Runner's neon-soaked dystopia. It's something scarier. Our world. Just a little more broken. The cinematography, by Matthew Leonetti, drenches every frame in paranoia and desperation. The opening POV sequence, a botched robbery, is legendary. Shot in a single take, it puts you directly in the shoes of a criminal before everything goes horribly wrong. Bigelow's insistence on realism is why the opening scene was filmed as one continuous take. The crew had to use custom camera rigs and rehearse the sequence endlessly, creating a prototype for the kind of immersive first-person shooting style you'd later see in GoPro footage and video games. The editing process was brutal. The squid sequences required careful blending of POV camera work, audio layering, and practical effects to simulate the brain hijack feel. The goal was to make the audience feel complicit, not just watching violence, but experience it. Graham Revell's score added to the atmosphere, fusing industrial grit with orchestral dread. Throw in Juliette Lewis's live performances and contributions from bands like PJ Harvey, and the soundtrack became a chaotic mix that perfectly captured the film's vibe. Beautiful, ugly, and dangerous all at once. When it premiered, Strange Days was a disaster. Critics dismissed it as too bleak, too long, too chaotic. Audiences, meanwhile, were more interested in Die Hard with a Vengeance. The film limped out of theatres with barely a window. But like all great cult films, time has been kind. In an era of VR headsets, deepfakes, and TikTok oversharing, Strange Days feels more like a prophecy than pulp. Kathryn Bigelow wasn't making escapism. She was holding up a mirror, and audiences didn't like what they saw. Now, it looks uncomfortably accurate. Do you think Strange Days deserves to be mentioned alongside other cyberpunk classics like Blade Runner or The Matrix? Or is it still destined to be a hidden gem only film nerds whisper about? Let me know in the comments. Today, Strange Days is finally getting the respect it deserves. Critics reassess it as one of Bigelow's sharpest works, with stunning production design, stellar performances, and direction that turns chaos into poetry. It predicted our obsession with recording everything. It warned about the dangers of voyeurism and systemic abuse, and it did it with style. Sweaty, frantic, neon-drenched style. So yes, it's dark. Yes, it's messy. But it's also brilliant. Strange Days is one of those films that makes you uncomfortable in the best way possible. It's not just sci-fi, it's a time capsule, a warning, and a movie that dares to say, the future isn't coming, it's already here.
You know you want it.